Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and today we're taking a look at a couple of games here that either have already been reviewed on the channel or don't really get a full review of their own. And most of these I think have already been reviewed by other people, but just to kind of give you my thoughts on it. And actually we're going to start off with one that I don't know if it was reviewed yet here on the channel, but I did play recently. So here's a couple reviews and let's get started. Okay, the first game I'm taking a look at today is a game called Color Code. This is a party style game, and the whole idea of this is everyone has color association for things in your mind, whether you know it or not, and this kind of pulls them to the forefront. So the person is going to go ahead and one person is going to go ahead and take out three different things and assign colors to each of those. Like for example, what color would you associate with music? What would you associate with a bicycle? What would you associate with poetry? Right? So then everyone's going to collectively try to figure out what color this person said and decide like, oh, well, music, they're probably going to say yellow because yellow is a color of brass in a jazz band. But in actuality, the guy could actually play strings, so he would say brown because brown is a color of a violin or a cello or things like that. That's interesting because what I like about party games like this are the conversations that happen around them. So you kind of figure out the thought process. And also the fact that when you are that person, it is so frustrating to sit there and have to be very quiet as you hear them going down the wrong path, or they are where you need them to be to guess that color, and then you slowly hear them deviate and go elsewhere, and you're like, not it. So anyway, that's what this game does. It kind of brings forward, and it's a fun style of party game. Another thing I do like about this is it can be played in any setting, really. You don't have to all be around a table. And you can actually be playing this at a living room. So people can just talk, kind of like Green Team Wins, in the fact that everyone can just be sitting wherever you are and you just pass it out and one person gets to choose all these. So that I really do like. It's a very simple rule set. And as with most of them, there is a scoring mechanism, but the scoring is really secondary to the fun of the game and figuring that out. And the more you talk about this, it's a great icebreaker to figure out why people think the way they do, especially if you don't really know the people at the event or the party. It's pretty fun to play this game and get involved. And I actually come in at I'm actually coming in at a 7 for this because I do recommend this as a great party style icebreaker if you do enjoy this kind of game. So that is a 7 for Color Code. If you like party games, if you have those big events, especially if you like icebreaker style games that are easy to explain, check out Color Code. I think you'll like it. For this review, I give a red. Okay, so next is a little game you probably haven't even heard about. This game is called Wyrmspan. Yeah, it's based on another game you haven't heard about called Wyrmspan. Now, I'm sure everyone's heard about this, and this was reviewed here on the channel, and this is Wyrmspan. It is Wyrmspan with dragons. And Wyrmspan, the game that we have everything for. My wife loves this game. And my daughter loves dragons. So we heard there's Wyrmspan about dragons, instantly right in. I really like the artwork in this. I know some people do not. I think it's fun. But I love dragons. I love everything about dragons. I think they look awesome. I've got books on dragons. They're my daughter's, but I got it. But this is Wyrmspan. I like that it kind of adds some elements to it. First off, I love the caves. I love being able to put the caves on this. Those add a really fun little element to it. And then I like the fact the refresh happens in between rounds, and each of those you have those little goals that go forward with this. And on top of that, I do like the guild. I think they call it the guild tracker. That kind of helps replayability. So as your cubes are going to move across that track up the top, you're going to get different things as you go, and then you're going to drop cubes in the center guild track. And that changes each game, so that's going to add some replayability there. So, and the actions on this, I don't know why, I know it's very similar to Wyrmspan, but everything just seems more, for me, thematic. I like this theme so much more than the birds. I will tell you that. I mean, you've got that excavate, and you get to drop that, I guess, a layer card is what they are. You drop the layer card. Then you've got the different sizes of dragons. And although most of these, I'm not sure if they're made up or what, I just love the idea of these different size dragons going in different layers. Then you've got the entice to be able to recruit your dragons, be able to grab them from there and bring them in to hopefully be able to use those later. And then I love the explore, that you're actually exploring dragons and you're activating them as you walk through and you get to reap those benefits. And I know Wyrmspan's got the same thing, but here it's dragons. And it does come down to those card draws, hoping your dragon comes up. But it does with Wyrmspan as well. So this, I really like that explore. You can do it several times, but then it starts to cost more. If you love to go certain down one track, it's going to cost you more the more you want to go through that. There's so much more to love about this game. I honestly, we're fans of Wyrmspan, but this is going to replace Wyrmspan in my house. I know, it's a terrible thing to say. One thing is because I love this game, I think it's going to hit the table more. I think it's a very fun theme, and a lot of my friends will really gravitate to a theme like this. And it's different enough that I think it's worth buying, but it's similar enough to where I don't think I need to own both. So there's the kind of the rub for me. I'm coming in at a 9 on this. I really, really like Wyrmspan. And this is from someone who I enjoyed Wyrmspan. I didn't love it. So I kind of fought playing this and I finally played it at West. And I really, really enjoy this. So this is a 9 for me. This is Wyrmspan. It's about dragons. Okay, so next is a charming little game that kind of gave me the Earth vibes. The game, not the place. Nothing reminds me of that place. I don't even go to that place anymore. This is Forest Shuffle. Forest Shuffle is a very nature-style game that is pretty much uses cards, but it's very charming in the fact that you're going to put trees, you're going to put all trees, and then around these trees you're going to put animals. And the animals, I love the fact that they're divided into half, depending on which half you're going to show, and you can use either half you want. So there'll be one animal on each side, like say it's here, so you can put it behind the tree, so half is peeking out this way, or half is peeking out this way, or it could be top and bottom, so you could have a bird at the top, or you could have some moss at the bottom, so you tuck it under that tree, so half is pointing out, and you get to decide which half that is. So this game is really charming in the fact that it's a point salad type thing, because you're going to get points for your trees, and the points are just all over the board. The points go from set collection to certain things will score only if certain other things are there, or you can kind of stack, and it's really one of those games that it's really you pivot. Every time you get another card, you're like, I do want to try that. And then you've got also the drafting in the middle. You've got that clearing, I think is what they call it, in the center. And the clearing of where you can pull cards from, and cards get dropped there. But if there's too many cards there, it wipes. And you won't see those cards again, so you want to get them quick. And you've got to kind of balance that, right? So you're going to look for different trees if you're going to complete the set of trees. Or if you're going to get certain animals, you try to look for those. And then, of course, when you plant a tree, another card gets flipped. So the game is always progressing. The game, it does what I love games do, and that is it ends almost too soon. Not way too soon, but almost too soon, because you want it to go longer, because you've almost got that system of getting all those points. And it's funny hearing people talk about this. Everybody's like, oh well, the game, it's got one winning strategy, and then they always proceed to tell me a different strategy. And it's pretty funny how people are like, come on, man, it's just about the deer and the wolves. Every time you do deer and wolves, you're gonna win. And I'm like, okay. And the other guy's like, it's all about the trees. You got to get the trees. You get so many trees, you're going to win. And then somebody else is like, it's all about the moss. You got to have enough moss with the trees. So the fact that there's so many winning strategies out there really makes this game enjoyable to me, because it does show there are different avenues to victory. And you can also hate draft and kind of hate wipe. Not sure that's really a phrase, or even if it should be. But anyway, it is, so you can kind of wipe those if you know someone's over there collecting butterflies, which FYI, not a huge winning strategy. Tried that. But if you're collecting butterflies, you can kind of wipe those as you see their tableau and you see kind of what they're going for. But that's a bit difficult to do, to look at what everyone else is doing, because you're also focused on how you can pivot and go forward. So that right there, I really enjoy this. And then towards the end of the game gets tighter, and you start to encourage people to draw from the clearing rather than the deck, because the deck is going to proceed and get those cards to come up and in the game sooner, and you're not quite ready. You're never ready for this game to end. So I'm coming in at a 9 on this because I think the game is just, the rules are simple. It looks great. It's got that point salad, and it's got, the variability is just sky high on this. And with an expansion coming out, it's going to be even better. This game is really fun. So I say check this out. This is Forced Shuffle. This is a 9 from me. Okay, so my next game is a very Sam Healy game, and in fact, he is actually the one that taught this to me. And this is Knarr. Knarr is a very, it's a card Viking game. Viking card game, whatever. It's a card game with Vikings. So it's a very simple game, and the whole thing is you're going to kind of put together a crew, and every crew has different symbols, and it's uber quick and easy too. So you're going to grab a member and put it in your crew, and when you do, you're going to activate all those icons in this crew. They can give you reputation, they can give you points, they can give you a bracelet or helmet that do different things. So all of that is going to go forward. So you're going to kind of grow your resources and move up that point track. It is a race to 40 points. And what I like about this is it kind of progresses quickly and it scales. So towards the end, you're barely getting a point or two. But then towards the end, you're getting chunks of points. Because what happens as you recruit those, then you're also going to go ahead and get destinations, and the destinations will increase your banners. And you're going to have 3 banners along the top. And each banner is going to give you, like the first banner may give you a couple points. The second banner may give you a card and a couple points, and also may give you a bracelet. And then everything has that done. Now, as you're going to trade, which is where you kind of fire off those banners, if you have either 1 bracelet, 2, or 3. So it's all about how patient you are. Because if you only have 1, then you're just going to fire up that first banner, right? But if you can wait till you have 3, then you get to fire up the first, second, and third, which is generally obviously going to give you more points and more everything. But you have to wait until you get those 3 bracelets. It's getting that synergy of being able to get that kind of almost an engine that kind of gets you those bracelets through your crew here, and then you can fire them off to get your banner, and you're looking at what everyone else is doing too. And then you've got the reputation that's going to give you points towards at the beginning of every turn. So you're going to go up that track. So you're getting just chunks of points, and that 40-point threshold is going to be hit really quick. So this game is one that I liked a lot more than I thought I would. This game I really enjoy. This is an 8 because it's a very small, compact game, and it is Knarr, so check it out. And again, the artwork on this is great. If you like Vikings, great, you'll love it. But if you don't, I say give this a try. This is not your typical Viking game. This is a very fun card, engine building style game. So give this a try. It is called Knarr. I was more pirate than Viking, I think, though. Okay, so this game is called 9 Tiles Panic Extreme. And you know what? I'm glad 9 tiles, it covers it. There are 9 tiles. They nailed that. Panic, yep, that does cover it too. Because it is very panicky. The whole thing is there are 9 tiles in front of you, and you're going to flip a card. I never played the first one. I guess it's the first that's not extreme. But you flip it, and that shows you the orientation you need these 9 tiles to be in. But the top of the other card is going to show you whether you should match the color or the symbols. All right? So then you're going to go at it. And it's a race with the other person. You're going to keep going back and forth. This one, it's funny, when I was kind of assembling it, I was like, man, you don't know what's on the other side of these. There should be like a symbol that shows you what's in the back, but then you play the game and you realize that's why. And wow, it's frustrating because you get them all in different positions with the sides that you see, and then you're like, I've got one more, and you flip, and the back is wrong, and you're like, where's the other back? And then you've got to find one that you can swap out while making sure the back matches. For example, if all the colors are matched, but the one you have here is like gray and orange, and you're just like, and you need red, and you're like, wait, where's red? Over here's red, but on the back it doesn't match this. And then you end up messing it up more trying to fix it than anything else. I almost felt like that Rubik's Cube where you're like 2 steps away, but the more you're trying to get those two in there, it ends up being more of a mess. So this, honestly, it almost didn't really give me Dr. Eureka vibes by trying to match up that kind of that vial, I think, of Dr. Eureka. But this one has the same thing, but this one, it's a bit more frustrating for me. So this was one that it was fine. It's very quick to play. You sit there, you're going to pull them out and play right away. But it's a very stressful boom, 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 run, run, run game. This one, not crazy about. Not sure how much I'd play it. I give this a 6. But if you like these very, really anxiety-driven games and just speed games, then you'll probably like this. This is 9 Tiles Panic Extreme. Okay, so finally we are to a Star Wars game here, and I had just played Star Wars Unlimited, and my review for that is on the channel here. So I thought, you know what? I enjoyed that. Let's go to something else that's not a CCG. Let's try this Star Wars deck building game and see what that's like. And I actually played that with Z. And first of all, I love Star Realms. And the comparisons between this and Star Realms are going to happen because, man, it's really close. These games are really close to each other. But that being said, there are some differences in this Star Wars, the deck building game, that I enjoy more than Star Realms. And we'll get to some of the differences as well. But, well, those are the differences. One of them is the bases or the planets you bring out. Those right there, I love the fact that every planet is going to give you something different and play that kind of round differently. So you want to time out when those planets come out. Because like if you bring this out and it's like, okay, this is going to move the force towards me. Or this is going to give +1 to attack of a certain thing. I like that. That right there adds some variability in every game. And of course, you recognize the planets if you know Star Wars lore. I think I recognize, I don't know, 25% of them. I don't know lore that much. But it's really fun to bring those out because you'll see a planet that's powerful. You're like, but I don't want to bring it out now because those cards aren't in place. You're kind of going to want to time it and bring it out at different times. And it's very quick back-to-back on this. Now, there are no factions like Star Realms. But the one thing there are is as the cards come out and can be purchased in the middle, there are cards for each person. So they're going to be facing that person. And then there are cards that you can kind of get for either team. But what I also like about this is as they're sitting in that attack row, you can attack them there too. This adds a very different element to it that instead of just attacking them, you're like, you know what? I know it would be beneficial to attack them, obviously, as you're trying to destroy their planets, but I also don't want him to have this. So I want to go ahead and attack this card in the center to make sure that it does not go into his hand, and then eventually in front of him it attacks me. So that right there, the flop is very interesting. Now I can see how later, if these cards they're not really for you, the flop could get poor. You know, you hope for more cards to show up, but that really hasn't happened to me. It's been very exciting to see these cards come forward. And again, this is like original trilogy stuff here. So I like the artwork on this. I like how they look. You still get excited when Leia comes out. You're like, I get to pull her over here. She's pretty powerful too. You got Jabba the Hutt in there and all of those. So I really like the feel of this game. And it's also got so much room to grow. And growing in this is one of those things like Star Realms. When it first came out, it was one of those I traveled with all the time. I loved Star Realms. But as I got more and more expansions, it stopped hitting the table to where now I never, ever use Star Realms because it got bloated so fast. But this right here is probably the one time I'm going to pull the trigger and get rid of Star Realms. I'm not going to really compare this to Unlimited much more because I think we're going to do a different video later comparing these two. But clearly I'll just say that I did like this more. I'm actually coming in at 8.5 on this, which I think I gave Star Wars Unlimited a 7. And Star Wars Unlimited is probably, I like the back. It's a different style of game. It's a very attacking game. But this one I like because I obviously like the system a lot more. I think the system is a lot better for what I'm looking for in a game, not a lifestyle of chasing down cards for the rest of my natural life. This is a game that is there. It's in there. It's enjoyable. It's got replayability. And if they have expansions, I'm going to love those expansions, which is funny. I just complained about Star Realms having too many expansions, and now I'm like, man, I can't wait for the next expansion. And I'm like, it's happening again. But this is great because this base game has enough play inside of it that it's really fun. I like this a lot more than I thought I would, but this is Star Wars, the deck building game, and I give it an 8.5, so try that out. Whew, okay, that's it. Those are some reviews of different games we played. So again, take a look at some other reviews here in the channel, and I'm Joey Evans, and this is The Dice Tower.